word Hmong means free, free to breathe, free to move, free to speak, free to believe. Yet, as a people historically tormented by ethnic and religious persecution, they were anything but free. The Hmong originated in southern China, a people enchanted by the mountains and dedicated to arable land. They practiced Ao Dab and Ao Nib. They believed in the other world, divided into two spheres, that of the material light and that of the spiritual dark, once aligned but now separated. Communication between worlds was possible only through domestic worship and shamanism. These firm beliefs have resulted in Hmong persecution for thousands of years. Their history is one of oppression and maltreatment, discriminated against first by the Han Chinese and Qing dynasty and, in recent history, the Laotian and Vietnamese peoples, with whom conflicts climaxed when tensions escalated between the United States and Laos and Vietnam in the 1960s. The CIA enlisted Hmong people living in these Asian countries in a secret war against the Viet Cong, promising to help them achieve autonomy when the war ended. However, when the United States pulled out in 1973, the Hmong were left in a war-torn state, the victims of genocide under communist rule. Thousands fled to Thailand and the promise of refugee camps. The journey was perilous. They were hunted, tortured, and killed by the Vietnamese. The weak and elderly were left behind, and children perished from malnutrition. Of the 3 million pure Hmong living in Vietnam, only 200,000 survived the war and the voyage. But those who did reach the refugee camps located on the banks of the Mekong River found only continued harassment at the hands of corrupt Thai and United Nations officials. Bao Pao Cha, a Hmong refugee, described the conditions as, quote, terrible. There were no toilets. People had no water to wash themselves. There was no clinic for the sick. There were no jobs, no land to grow food, and virtually no way of getting money to buy food. End quote. Many Hmong looked to the United States for freedom. In 1975, the famed nation of immigrants opened its borders to Hmong refugees. Many Hmong had only heard rumors of their new home. Shua Yang, a refugee, recalled, quote, all we ever heard was America had giant hairy demons that ate people. End quote. Facing such unknown futures, thousands of Hmong came to the States, settling primarily in California, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and bringing their spiritual beliefs with them, adding to the religious diversity of the country. However, while the United States boasts freedom of religion, its citizens are often hesitant to accept new faiths and beliefs. Often only time can quell the differences between citizens and newcomers. Fortunately, the Hmong immigrated after the right to freedom of religion had already been tested and expanded. When they arrived, freedom of religion was protected under local, state, and federal law. Today, over 65,000 Hmong live in California, the largest populations settling in Fresno, Eureka, and Valencia. Here they are promised freedom of religion, a fundamental concept that has beckoned the religiously persecuted for over 2 centuries. The First Amendment provides protection against government interference with all religions, as it was designed to do by the Founding Fathers. They drew on experience of religious persecution in England and created the Establishment and Free Exercise Clauses as precautions against a similar predicament infesting the liberty of the new nation. Thus, they created the secularism embraced by Americans today, the separation of church and state vital to freedom of religion. While thousands of Hmong people have immigrated to the United States, others still remain in the refugee camps of Thailand and the persecution of Laos, Vietnam, and southern China. Some individuals choose to live in their homeland. They have formed successful communities and have found livelihoods in some regions, but many still suffer from discrimination and strive to find liberty in the United States and other developed nations. It is for these individuals that work must be done and rights must be expanded. The contrast between those with religious freedom and those without clearly demonstrates the importance of the right so many consider fundamental to be acknowledged not only in the United States, but worldwide as well. In the past 35 years since the first Hmong immigrated to the United States, thousands more have come to seek freedom from ethnic and religious persecution. Families have joined communities, providing a blending of cultures. Children have entered classrooms and adults, workplaces. While they face difficulties with language barriers and cultural assimilation, their freedom of religion is protected. The Hmong living in the United States have finally realized the meaning of the word Hmong. They are free, free to believe.